BHP, the world's biggest diversified miner, today said it's producing record amounts of iron ore and copper, but there's been a potential $1.7 billion US cost blowout in massive fertiliser operation in Canada. Joining me now to explain all is our business editor, Ross Greenwood. And Ross, I guess the importance of this will be shown up in the share price today.
Absolutely. We'll try and show you that. The numbers are just dropping now as the markets are opening. So we'll see if we can see that in a little while. But just to explain, BHP over a very long period of time has taken a view about which metals it wants to be in. Iron ore, number one, and that's the key. Then copper is the other massive one, and it has a decision to make at some point about whether it goes ahead with an expansion of Olympic Dam in South Australia or whether, alternatively, it chooses to invest that money in places such as Canada. Another area it went to was based on the notion that the world would need food and therefore would need fertiliser, and a massive investment in fertiliser, which is in Canada. So the Jensen plant, which it's got there, is a huge project. But the company today has come out in its annual production report and said there are cost blowouts here, which basically come out to the best part of $2.5 billion Australian dollars. Now, this is, sort of a blow to BHP, but it does raise another question about Olympic Dam and about that massive copper plant in Australia as to whether the money will be spent here in Australia or whether it will be spent in Canada, and whether these cost blowouts in Canada, in fact, tip it back into the favour of South Australia of getting that project up here at Olympic Dam. So this is all to play for, not just for, shall I say, BHP and its shareholders, but even for the South Australian and the federal government, trying to encourage BHP to invest those many billions of dollars here in Australia. Now, I just wonder whether we've got the share price up. Here you go, BHP shares up 1.75%, so they're strong. So this is actually quite interesting. So the market has taken this cost blowout in its stride and effectively is saying that they've seen through this. So the share price, I'd say, is also encouraged by the record amounts of copper and iron ore that BHP has said today it's producing as well.
So the market's saying they've made the right call then?
Yeah, so they're making the right call, but they're at least absorbing. But this is a massive amount of money to absorb as a cost blowout. So they've taken that.
What's BHP worth, though, in terms of billions?
What's it worth
Tens
now?
of billions,
no, hundreds.
Hundreds. Well,
is it $200 billion, $230 billion, something of that nature?
Okay, so $1 billion, $1.7 billion should be seen in that context.
Well, yeah, but in the context also of its annual earnings, which might be $30-odd billion or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Still, look, I'm not saying $1 billion is not a lot of money.
So I've just heard that I wasn't far off. The market cap of BHP is $201 billion.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Now, I heard you talking earlier with Pete Stefanovic about the boss of NAB.
Yes.
What's going on there?
Okay, so this is Andrew Irvine.
Yeah.
And there's reports...
He hasn't been there for all that long, Ross.
A little over 12 months' time, right? Now, the issue is that some investors, big institutional investors at the National Australia Bank, have raised questions about his social drinking. Now, I find this kind of difficult because, let's be honest, people have a drink, and if the accusation came, Ross, you don't behave well under the drink, or Laura, you don't behave well under it's kind of hard to defend yourself against this. And the fact is, say, for example, he's the chair of the Australian Bankers Association. Now, he's not going to turn up to the social function when they have their big event next week. He'll turn up to an official function, but not to the social function. And I kind of sit there and think, because I've been out with him at one of these social functions, and he was perfectly fine company. Glass of wine, everybody had a chat. He was very open. He told great stories. He was actually entertaining, which not all bank chief executives are. And even his predecessor, who was a great banking chief executive, Ross McEwen, who I know personally as well, and have socialised with him, it would be fair to say that Ross McEwen, straight down the line, this guy pretty much more relaxed.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of sitting there going, unless there's some rather smoking gun out there.
But there's no actual accusation.
No, that's the point. And I'm kind of cutting him some slack.
There's not even any kind of detail about what the so-called bad behaviour is.
Yeah, and as I say, I've seen him in these situations. Okay. And I'm just thinking that maybe some investors or stockbrokers or whatever it might be who've been in other situations have gone, hey, this is not the way we want our chief executive to behave. But I'm sort of like going, well, if the results are there and the profits are there, he did run the business in the private bank for the NAB beforehand, so kind of they knew what they were getting, I would have thought.
Okay, let's talk about the market then. How's it?
Let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
How is the market going? The market should be, well, there you go. It's a bit better. That's because those BHP shares are higher. Up by about 2/3%. That's pretty good. After yesterday, it got a kick because obviously the suggestion is that interest rates are going to be cut. Let's have a look at the Aussie dollar. Where was that? It was above 65 US cents yesterday, right bang on 65 US cents today. And let's have a look at money market interest rates. They were the other ones that moved on those employment numbers yesterday, around 3.45%. But do bear in mind that they came down rather sharply after that unemployment rate came in higher than expected yesterday. The ASX 200 right now sitting at record highs, which is good news if you've got a bucket full of shares.
Great news. Yeah. I don't, but good luck to you if you do.
Yeah,
Ross, thanks so much for that.